Yes, it's good to be confident, to be able to talk the talk, about everything in voiceover or whatever business you're in. I'm talking about voiceover because that's what I do. But here's the thing. If you can't walk the walk, then all that talk, it's just going to fall flat. Actually, it's going to be worse than that. You're going to develop a reputation for yourself of being a bullshitter. Because if you can't back up, if you can't deliver the goods, then all this, you're just wasting people's time. Now, let me get into a little more detail of why I'm saying this today. Hey guys, I'm Jan Anderson. I'm a voice actor in Salem, Oregon, and I had an experience over the summer. We do a lot of, not a lot, but well, yeah, we have an older home. It's a mid-century modern ranch house, and so certain things aren't to our taste. We're trying to bring back that sort of original style to the house after it went through some not great renovations in the 90s, probably. So we're trying to switch things up a little bit. But anyway, so every summer we have certain projects that we want to do while the weather's nice. And so we had a big project now. I'm going to be relatively vague about this because just in case that contractor sees this video, I don't want to call them out directly. Anyway, so I'm a pretty handy guy. I can do a lot of things myself, but this particular project, no, it's not a type of work I enjoy. And so my wife and I decided to, let's hire it out. So I went looking for contractors. I had 4 come to the house. They always say, interview 3. Well, I interviewed 4. And the guy I chose was kind of in the middle of those 4 price-wise. Young guy, just kind of getting, I think he's had his business for 2, maybe 3 years so far. Good reviews on the internet. He presented himself very well. He could talk the talk, and everything seemed good. Whereas some of the guys that came over were either really incredibly high priced, the price seemed a little too low, or they just weren't, they couldn't even pass that test. They couldn't communicate well or promptly. Hey, if you want the business, you got to give me a little attention. At least to give me a bid. I don't want to have to wait over 2 weeks, So anyway, so they get started. Everything seems to be going great with this project. And I could see that he had, some of his crew were inexperienced. They seemed brand new to the trade, which is fine. I understand that. You've got to train new people all the time. Construction's one of those things where people come and go all the time. I know, I was in it. So anyway, so I started to see that everything started out just fine. However, things kind of started going downhill when I saw that he was showing them, briefly. From what I could tell, it was brief but fairly precise instruction. But then he'd take off and would leave the new guys to their own devices, guessing, am I doing this right? And mistakes were made. There were certain processes that were being omitted or messed up, and so they'd have to redo work. And then they would take time to go take care of another job for a day or maybe 2. This was supposed to be a job that would last maybe 4 days, 4, maybe 5. So mistakes kept getting made and in various stages of the job. So I could see that there was the attention to detail was not very good. The reliance upon inexperienced workers was too high. Communication was okay. There was open communication, but things weren't being followed up on certain things. There was at one point I was going to go get some materials that were required. He said, no, I've got a good source for that. Let me take care of it. He got the wrong thing and then tried to, essentially pound a square peg into a round hole, try to make it work. And no, That just wasn't working. And, from my experience, I have an eye for this kind of thing. So there were enough things going wrong so that I had lost confidence. And by the time, and things had to be redone again and again. So what was supposed to be 4, maybe 5 days turned into over 2 weeks. And I ended up taking some of the work on myself just to get it done and to get it done right. So that it looked good, so that things were straight and level and, looking good the way you want them to look. So, he could tell that I was frustrated. He understood. His level of compassion was a little, I could tell this was a bitter pill for him. Things were not going well. But instead of being more outgoing and saying, hey, I'm sorry this hasn't gone the way that I hoped it would. I'm sorry that things, we got tied up with other jobs and things like that. Just make a little effort to excuse your own fuck-ups. Excuse my language, but yeah. It was more sort of evasive, didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to look me in the eye. That kind of stuff. So what it all came down to is, he could talk the talk. He sold me the job. I was sold, but he couldn't walk the walk. Maybe this was a one-off. I don't think so. I think that he sold me something that he tried to present himself as an expert in something that he was not yet an expert in. I could tell. Anyway, so what does this have to do with with the voiceover business? Well, it has to do a lot. And just business in general. Yes, if you have the goods, by all means, present them. Use them in your sales pitches, right? But if you are asked, if you're questioned about something, and you do not have expertise in that particular field, just be honest. Just say, hey, no, I haven't done a lot of this kind of work before, but, I've been learning a lot about it. I want to get into doing more of it, and I think I can really do a good job for you here. Let me give you an audition, custom audition, and you can judge for yourself. So the whole point here is, no matter your level of expertise, if you're a beginner, that's great. There are tons of beginners. I was one once too. But don't try to make yourself out to be a pro who has years of experience behind them when you don't. If you know how to do things, great. Bring it on. But if you don't, be honest. Don't try to pass yourself off as something that you're just not, because it will come back to haunt you. I have dealt with people in the voiceover industry, not just other voice actors, but also producers, production houses and things like that I've had bad experiences with. And I remember them. And other people will too. And I will avoid them at all costs. If there's any way that I can avoid working with these people again, I will. It's not that I'm holding a grudge. It's just that, you kind of screwed me, and that was not enjoyable. So I don't want to work with you again. That's what it comes down to. So don't do that. Try not to. Be genuine, be honest, be timely, do your best work, and impress them with how well you do things, how efficient you are, how quickly you get your work in on time, or before time. And that's what makes you somebody that people want to do business with. Anyway, that's my spiel for today. I just, I had this gnawing at me and I wanted to share this experience. And unfortunately, I won't use that contractor again. It's not that I didn't like him as a person. He seemed like a very likable guy, but he didn't have his act together. Not in the way that I was expecting. My expectations were not met, and I don't hold unreasonable expectations of people. I try not to. I want to be pleasantly surprised. So when I'm not, it's a bummer. So do the opposite. surprise people with how good you are about something. It could be your performance. It could be the way that you did your homework. It could be whatever it is. Go the extra mile. It really makes a difference. And if you don't, well, that can make a difference too, and not in a good way. All right, that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, and that's it for now. Until next time, take it easy. Hey, if you've made it this far in the video, first of all, thanks again for watching. And secondly, I'm offering something new, a free 15-minute chat session. Whether you're a beginner and want to talk about, what steps you can take to further your career, whether you're looking for coaching, whether you're looking for business advice, whether you're looking for demo advice, whether you're looking for whatever. I'm here. So why don't you go to my Calendly page, which is down in the description box, click on that and find the appointment for free 15-minute chat. Okay? And click on it and schedule something, and we'll get together and talk about whatever's on your mind. All right? Thanks again. Take it easy.